Oh.
Melanie and Q&A with Melanie and Q&A with Melanie.
Well, there was technical difficulty, as there tends to be, because technology. Um, Hello, everybody. It's Friday. In Massachusetts, it is very rainy. And of course, my son, is outside riding his bike all over the place in the rain. He has a goal of like 8 laps today. And you might notice Dean is not here today. She's not feeling well. So it's only me. And I don't know what to do if I can't talk at Dean. Dean, I miss you. Come back, please. So, where do we begin? We're going to see if anybody comes on and has any questions about anything. But I think I'll just start talking about the week and where things are at with our company. Um, Also, like, how are you guys doing? I'm feeling pretty drained this week. I think it's always hard when it rains because the energy just goes down. Um, and it's the end, it's Friday. So that's a good thing. I have the weekend to relax. Um, it has been a week. It's hard to even remember where the beginning was. But I took a class that was very intensive and I hadn't expected to take it. And it was all on communication and influence. And it was like 2 or 6, probably about 8 hours that I ended up taking, maybe 10. Um, so it took a lot of emotional energy and time. And I feel like I'm even more confused about how to communicate now, even though I'm saying words to you right now. But it really showed me a lot of things in the way that I use language. And I've always been a big believer that whatever you say is what you believe, even if it's like unconsciously. But just he took it to another level. The guy's name is Michael Burnoff, if you want to look him up. He's very good at what he does. And so that has been a lot of my week. I've been talking to a lot of clients this week, which is interesting. We never know, we don't do a ton of marketing right now. We've really worked hard on our systems and figuring things out, but we never know what our customer flow is going to be. And so that is something. We also, I decided, based on that communication class, I decided to do something that is very uncomfortable for me. And I'm somebody who usually likes to push my own buttons of like pushing myself outside of my comfort zone. Like I used to never do Facebook or anything like live or videos. Videos scared me. And now, I'm feeling a little like different than I normally do because Dean isn't here to assist me. But I don't usually have a problem like talking at the computer anymore. You know what, you guys? This is moving so much. And also, just so you know, my kid could come in at any moment, and that's just going to be happening because I'm a stay-at-home mom now. It's summer vacation for kids, and that completely changes the dynamic of how I work. Um, Luckily, he's 12 now, almost 13, so he really is a kid who does a lot on his own, but I still have to parent him. He still has to be managed. And so that is like always the summer challenge. How do I go from being a business owner to being like, oh yeah, I'm a stay-at-home mother now? And I don't usually know how to do that very well. In fact, I didn't even remember that school was going to be ending until it suddenly was ended. I live day to day. So the uncomfortable thing that I did this week, I ended up. What was the thing that I did? I ended up putting out an employee training program for my window cleaning company. I spent a lot of time just trying to get the perfect training system. Because in my company, I knew at a certain point that if I really wanted to be successful and consistent, I had to develop a way to train employees that they could get up and running really quickly, that they could learn the way that I wanted them to learn. and that it wouldn't be so time intensive, or on the job. On job sites is the worst way to train. So I worked for many years on it, but I never put it out. During 2020, I think it was during no 2021 at the beginning, I had a former employee just working with me on getting all of it done, finishing the videos and all that kind of stuff. And we never finished because I started home service VA. And so I'm not actually selling the videos because those are not edited completely or anything, but I am selling the actual system, which I think will be very helpful to people. Why is that outside my comfort zone? Because I don't sell things that are not perfect. It's not comfortable to know that you could let somebody down potentially, especially when you really care about the things that you do. So the idea of putting something out that's really imperfect is extremely difficult for me. But I also recognize that my version of imperfect is like very perfect to other people. And it'll be very helpful to people who have absolutely nothing or don't have a good system in place. So I am going to do it. We're finishing our landing page today and going through the documents just to make sure everything's in good shape. Um, but it's nerve wracking. I have had a lot of interest though, and that's exciting. And the other thing is, I have been working on mastering my TikTok game. I don't know why that became kind of a thing because I wasn't into TikTok before that. Um, I, but when I, and then I started watching the videos, and of course I got addicted. But then I took a class with my friend Brandon, who is like a guru on TikTok. And it wasn't really a class. He just was teaching a small group of us how to do it in kind of like a 30-day type challenge. And his main thing was just post every day anything and keep posting. And after like the first month, you're kind of going to know what people want. So I did it. I want to say I'm usually not consistent, but I'll say I don't take consistency seriously. That's what the new language that I'm going to be using. Because if I did, I would find ways to be consistent. But I actually did take consistency seriously with TikTok, which seems like kind of like, well, as Max says, aren't you too old to be doing that? No, Max, I'm not. Um, the reason why I like TikTok is because it makes me hone down my words. It makes me really cut and think about how I'm telling a story, how I want it to be heard. And the game is what is going to get the most views, right? I mean, for me, it's also like there are things I want to tell people, there's things I want to help people with. And sometimes I just want to do it just because. But most of the time, my main goal from a business perspective was storytelling. I want to learn how to be better at it. Um, so it's been really interesting, and I've been pretty excited this past week because I finally feel like I made headway. Um, well, I made headway a couple months ago. I had a video that got maybe 40 or 50,000 views, but it was like people who hated me. So that was the wrong side of TikTok. But actually, I loved that experience. It taught me that I do not care as much as I thought I did, which is really important to know. As I said at the time, I keep thinking I'm like the 18-year-old version of me and not the 45-year-old version that I am now. But the cool thing is, this past week, I got one video that got 600,000 views. And the other video I made was at 300,000 at this point. And I really credit the practice of trying to figure out storytelling. I think the first thing I would say is like making sure you have a really good heading, like that kind of tells the ending of the story. So the one that really got the most views, the 600,000, was I was accused of murdering my neighbor's wife, which is technically a very true story, but it doesn't turn out the way you think it would be. Um, and then the other one that was really exciting was one I made about Max. And I just told this story about how I was raising him to be weather neutral, which really just means I try to make it so that he doesn't see weather as good or bad. It's just weather. And I make sure he's outside a lot because outdoors helps him. He's somebody who struggles with things. And so being outside, like, that's his place. That's where he's at his best. Um, and people loved it. They resonated with him, with Max, with the story. It was pretty cool. Um, if anybody's here, I don't know how to see comments. That's what Dean usually does. So if anybody does come on, say hi. Ah, there you go, Dean. Thank you. I was like, is anybody here? Um, yes, Dean, it's the storytelling part. I was just talking to my daughter, Sophia, about TikTok and showing her the views and how it had, just kind of like the data about it. And she was like, "Oh, you're beating me now." And she's the one who will go and do the TikTok dances or do like the voiceovers, but she never ever uses her voice. Hi, Princess. I love the name Princess. What a cool name. Um, but she never ever says like anything. And I think a lot of people are really scared or just, I mean, I used to be, I'm not going to lie, I used to be terrified of that little red dot that is, when you're making videos. But I it takes me a minute still sometimes to get back into the zone of just like being like present. For like right now, I'm not very present. I feel like I'm a little all over the place, but when I'm making a video, I have to be very present. I have to put all my energy into it because in video, as I'm sure you've noticed, if you do it at your regular, which is I'm at my regular right now, it just comes off really flat. And if you do it, let me see if I can even do it. And if you do it like this, it comes off normal. Maybe. I don't know. That might have sounded crazy. But so it's a practice, you guys. You just have to practice. And I never thought I would be able to figure out how to make TikTok work, and I did it. And it took a couple months, probably not as fast as other people. I've like not a lot of followers, like 6,000 or something. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of like I gamified it in my head. It's just I have a goal and I want to reach the goal. My goal, of course, is like the same like when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was like, I want to make $1 million. And that number somehow still remains in my head. I want to have 1 million views or something on a video or likes, or I don't know what I want because I already have a million views total on videos, but it's like I want one specific thing that has 1 million. And it's so arbitrary and it doesn't even matter, but my head decided it mattered. So when I'm done with that, let's see if I'll probably be like, okay, time to conquer Facebook Reels now. But the thing I've come to realize is in business, I'm like Dean is operations for our company. I'm marketing and sales technically. And at the time, I didn't realize that's what the job was that I was building for myself. But I've adapted to it. I love going and meeting people. And the truth is, that's how we find all our customers so far. It's all word of mouth, it's all networking, it's all meeting people or people who've heard about us. And it really isn't coming from other places. Like, I don't make videos about the VA world. And that's what I'm going to be doing a lot more of. And so it's an interesting little world online. So that is cool. The other thing is it's hard. We've had two people leave our company recently for different reasons. That's always really hard when we lose people because it, it's just a change. Like we're already changing every day with the work we do. And so to have people change, which is inevitable, it's kind of disrupts for a little bit. So if you are, a really great virtual assistant or executive assistant anyway, you should apply to our company because we're always looking to match VAs up with business owners. And the kinds of business owners we tend to attract are really good, like they care. And the other thing is, I work hard to train them how to communicate with the VA. That's really important to me and Dean, that people like we won't be successful if VAs and business owners can't communicate well with each other. And that's usually always the issue. That's always what it comes down to is there's not clear communication and then something gets lost in translation and then, you're in a bad place at that point. I think I need a drink. So anyway, that's another thing. Without Dean, without you, it's just like I don't usually I can't stop talking and right now I'm just like in a zone. Um I've been meeting some really cool people lately, which I'm excited about. Um, I had a meeting with somebody yesterday, and he kind of blew me away. You know, like when you meet somebody and they're humble, but you sense just from the little that they say how brilliant they are. That's this guy. So I'm excited to spend more time talking to him. And that's the cool thing. The more that I network, the more that I'm, meeting people um, in my travels, the more interesting people I get to know. And I love that. Guys, this is a very important non-business related thing, but in my part of the world, it is firefly season, and that is the most important season of my life. I've been spending a lot of time at night when I'm not too exhausted, just going on bike rides and just enjoying the wonder of fireflies. Do you realize how magical they are? They have like light inside of their butts or somewhere in their body. It's amazing. It's a true miracle. So that's been pretty cool. Let's talk about VA stuff. I am trying to think of some of the common things that clients or prospects are bringing up, and they usually tend to be the same types of things often. Um, one of them is about cost. One of them is like, can they speak English? Um, I know that when Dean's been on, we've had people say, "Oh, I wasn't sure about, whether the VAs could speak good English or not, but I saw Dean, and now I realize that, that was one thing that came off of their mind." And here's what I'll say about it. Um, Filipinos actually learn both English and Tagalog or Filipino in school. I think they're both the national languages of the country. And so pretty much everybody speaks English and or a mix. And so it's really easy to find English speaking people there since everybody does. Um, and a lot of people speak really good English. And some of the things we've run up against is it's kind of funny with social media management. One of the issues I found is that I can communicate with my people and we can be on the same page and they're talking just like I talk, but then their written English is so formal that it doesn't sound anything like what we would be used to in the States. So I've really had to work with my VAs and all people that are working for business owners to talk to them about that. And there are so many tools now that if you were going to have a VA do your social media management, you can use a tool like Jarvis AI to, help them to write the content for you. There are other tools that we use as well. But it's something that we always check with people. We want to know what is their English like level of English speaking skill and written skill or comprehension. So we test for that when we are hiring or advertising for VAs. But we also ask the business owner or the clients, what are you looking for in terms of English? Are they going to be on the phone? If they're going to be on the phone, they need to have good phone skills. If they're not going to be on the phone, if they're doing back end work, they need to probably have good written skills. And it doesn't have to be both. Think about it with our employees in the States. It's the same thing. We don't always need somebody to have good written skills when they can be, you know, um, good at speaking because that's just the way it is. That didn't make any sense, but you know what I mean. So that is one thing. The other one is cost. People are very concerned about what it costs to have a VA, and I also used to be concerned about it. I remember when I hired Dean, because she was the first time person. Now, again, I just want to say I had had office people before, but the whole reason I stopped having office people is because it was a distraction for my very overwhelmed ADD brain. If you put somebody in front of me face to face, I'm going to talk with them or I'm going to be asked a lot of questions, and that's all distraction for me. So I actually found that I need to have somebody who's virtual. And so Dean, I still had office staff, but she was the first one who was full time as well. And it was just so amazing. I was worried about how much she would cost, and so I only hired her for 20 hours a week to start with, and then within 3 weeks, we were up to 50 hours a week because I recognized she was not costing me money. She was making me money. She was giving me my time back, and it was worth everything. And I've never looked at it as a cost ever since then. It is a investment, but it is an investment that is so worth it. Um, usually you can hire people in the Philippines. It's pretty sad for as little as $2.50. We've heard of that situation. I personally think that is morally wrong because that is not a living wage for somebody. And even if you did hire somebody at that rate, they will be working a second and a third job. They can't afford to live on that kind of money. We really recommend our clients to start at no less than $5 an hour. And I even question still, like sometimes, is that a good enough starting rate? And it also depends on what their specialty is, because that's not for everybody. We go between 7 or 5 to $10 per hour, depending on the role. But 5 is reasonable to start with. And so you're looking at, for 40 hours a week, that's what, $200 or 230, 240 on average. Think of what somebody could take off your plate if you were having them work 40 hours for you, and they were efficient and they were well trained. All the emails that you get in would no longer be a thing, all the data entry, everything about business that most entrepreneurs don't like, that's what a VA can do. So I will probably never be able to go back. I feel like I've become a little lazy. Like we tried to get on this StreamYard and we accidentally deleted it. And I have no idea how to get on StreamYard. I don't hold those things in my brain anymore. I don't know how to get on Zoom, you guys. I've a couple different Zoom accounts and I use mine the most. So if I click on a Zoom link and it's not my account, I have to suddenly figure out, how do I get into a different account? What buttons do I press? For me, on that high level of like, what do I want my brain to be doing? That was the kind of stuff that just sucked the life out of me. And it still does. If I have a little task to do, and if it has more than 2 steps, forget it. But I will not be able to focus on it. And my brain just gets kind of like, I feel like it's like my dog Sean, who is very stubborn. If you take him on a walk and you don't keep walking in a circle and you want to turn around, he won't. He stops and he gets stuck. And that's how my brain is. It doesn't want to do small things anymore. So that's a gift and a curse. To have somebody who can help me manage all of the chaos is important, but also it's really, at this point for me, it is essential, because without that person, I am running 2 businesses and my family life and my personal life, and I don't want to feel that level of stress in my life. I've done that before. I am too old for that. And I feel like also I want to say I'm too smart for that, but really it's I'm too old and tired for that. And I just want to enjoy thinking of the big ideas, being the visionary, coming up with the big things, being able to talk to clients and inspire them by showing them a different way of looking at things is always exciting as well. Um, so I don't know. I feel like it's really, for anybody who has a business, any entrepreneur, um, having a virtual assistant will really change your life, give you back your time. But that's only if you can manage them well, you know? That's the hard part, is figuring out how to take on, you know, people who have employees tend to be worse at this than people who don't have employees, because people who don't have employees have usually been so terrified to hire anybody that they take the process very seriously. People who have employees are usually so backed up and they're just looking for a quick solution. So they like rush through and they hire us and they're like, yes, I need a VA. And then they kind of ghost us during our process because they get distracted by all of the fires they're putting out, which is business owners everywhere, and me too. But they don't do the work to get that VA. And we have learned to not let anybody graduate to the next level, if that's a thing, of actually taking on their VA until they've done the work of learning about the culture, learning about cultural like communication differences and how to pay a VA, what kind of software to use. Like all of that stuff is very basic to the success of your relationship with your VA, to make sure that it works out. Um, and a lot of people don't take the time. I am guilty of not taking the time, of being too busy. That recently happened. I didn't take the time. I was too overwhelmed and too busy, and that did not go well for me. So it's not that I'm saying anything that I have not experienced often. I say that I love learning the hard way, usually 2 to 3 times. So, and that's just really very tongue in cheek, because I don't love learning the hard way. I just keep forgetting and doing it all over again. Let me think if there's anything else that I wanted to talk about today. It's really lonely without Dean. And since there's really not anybody that I can see watching, I don't know if anybody is watching. It's so hard to tell. Um, I may go off early today. Don't tell anybody. Um, let's see. Let's see. If anybody has a question, they should probably ask it soon, because I feel my brain kind of shutting down. That's a bad sign. I need to stay engaged. And just staring at a computer screen, as you know, is not very engaging. Um, Rowie, what do you think? Is there anybody out there? Are you out there, Rowie? Rowie's helping me because I'm really bad at technology. No, actually, let me rephrase that. I am I don't take technology seriously. That's what I'm going to say from now on. I think that I'm done. I think we can be done for today. We all need this weekend, don't we? We are so close to the weekend, and I want you to enjoy your weekend. If you have any questions about having a VA or anything really, um, reach out. Reach out to us. We are always willing to chat with people and see if we're a solution for you. We're not the solution for everybody. If you're somebody who really needs somebody else to do your managing for you, we're not going to work right now because we're not an agency. We're just a recruiter. But if you're somebody who wants to do it yourself, but you don't know how and you don't want to waste the time figuring it out, um, we're definitely the people you should reach out to. We have a great process. We are always changing it to make it better, and we love feedback. So thank you so much for watching this, whoever is out there. And I will be back next Friday with Hey Rowie. Thank you. Rowie, what I was saying is I can't see from my perspective if there's anybody watching. So I think you can see maybe if there are people watching, and I'm as a guest can't see. Or maybe I don't know how to do it. No, I think I can't tell. But it doesn't matter because, Rowie, I think we're good for today. Dean, come back to me. Do you see what happens when you're not here? I just can't function. Miss you. Thank you, team. This week has been a long week, but we made it through. We're almost to the end. And Rowie, I think we're good. I think we can be done. Have a great weekend, everybody.